Welcome to the Roost. Another month, another TTRPG video. This month I'm providing a behind the GM screen look at how I build an encounter as I prep for a game with the Dice Collectors, the actual play podcast I DM for. The encounter I'm working on today will be in the episode released on August 18th, so go check out the podcast as well. Though be warned, despite my prep and planning, sometimes I change things in the moment or my players throw me curveballs, so don't expect everything I say in this video to happen in the episode. They are doing a hex crawl and they have just encountered a Bulette. Let's see how they pronounce it on the site.
Bulette.
I'm gonna mess that up a lot, but sure. They kind of look like this. They're described as land sharks, and the basis for the encounter is actually a stone giant hunting party, which they more or less ignored and they actually tried to avoid, has been hunting this Bulette that has been harassing their flocks, and they can potentially offer some help to the party if the party accepts it or encounters them. But first they have to face this creature that has popped up out of the ground, burrowing out in front of them. They might try to avoid it, but I do want to have a map prepared, and I want them to have more of a chance to encounter this stone giant hunting party again. So the idea is that there is this creature. Let's see some of its stats, other than the burrow, which I think will be helpful. I think one might be enough. It has 94 hit points. My party is level 10. This isn't meant to be like a super intense battle. It's meant to kind of move the party along and potentially give them some context with the stone giants. So it's not meant to be an epic battle, but I do want to have something prepared. I think this is what we're going to work with. So if this is our monster here, I like this image. I like the kind of sharp edges to it. This one doesn't look very deadly. It looks like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a map. I'm going to start with just make it a battle map, landscape, and it's going to start in the grasslands because that's where we are right now. I like to start out making an incarnate, filling everything in. I don't want two different textures or levels to this right now. I may decide that I want one later because I'm already thinking about where the stone giants are coming from. But at least for now, that's what we're going to stick with. And for texture, let's look for some nice grass. The brown is fine for some areas of the grasslands, but for now, they're going to be in tall grass. This is like a farming or farm adjacent area. We're going to go with very green. I want the grid just to give me an idea. Space. There's no road, so I don't have to worry about that, but let's just assume for now, because the party is trekking west, so they're going to come from the east side. Bulette is going to come be in front of them. I want to give some texture to the land. So we're going to put maybe a tree or two. I like these that I already had kind of preset there. And then I do want to make like that ridge area that I was talking about. I think they had, the party had seen these stone giants lying in wait for something. Now, I know that they were lying and watching for this Bulette, keeping an ambush ready for them. The party obviously thought that it was potentially some danger for themselves and avoided them. But I want to make this ridge. I'm not thrilled always with the way depth works in Incarnate, but I do like their assets, and I like that it makes it a little easier on me when it comes to making these kinds of maps. I'm a little bit artistic, but not the most artistic, so it's nice to kind of have this difference. There are a lot of assets, and there are ways to make things work. It's just not always the most user-friendly isn't the right word. It is pretty user-friendly. It just always fit the picture that I have in my mind. And, you know, if I was more artistic and could do a lot of this from scratch, I probably would try, but this is a nice shortcut when I don't have the time to spend hours on a map. Now let's see if I can differentiate this a little bit. This is good. I don't like the color going on. Nice thing is that I can play with the opacity, and I might actually undo that because I think that's too much grass. I like the lighter color. It's less thick, I guess. So we have lots of layers here, lots of different textures. I think that looks pretty good. Now, in terms of other obstacles on the ground, I want to see if I can build in some more variation in the flatness. Now, this is kind of a flat land, it's grasslands. There is this ridge, but I want to see if there's some more texture that I can lay in on the ground. I like the way that this is turning out. I want to make sure that the stones are on top. So that way there's, I think, more depth there to differentiate that ridge from the rest of the lowlands. Now, if I could do something similar, I don't want full-on hills, but I do want just a little bit of like divots in the land, maybe. Okay, see, like something like this, because I can then like maybe stretch it. This is like something that like it's low enough that maybe a kid would go sledding down. It's not like a steep cliff or ridge that would require a little bit of a climb. This is like a slope that I'm imagining here. And then there's like these 3 layers, right? You have the tall area where the giants were. You have the flat land here. This is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 feet gets you within 5, 10, 15 feet of the edge. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, another 30-foot slope. Easy. It's not like a steep slope, but maybe a dexterity save if they want to cross it quickly, or an acrobatics check to see how far they can get down it carefully. And then more flatlands here. And then just for some more texture, I want some more rocks. Let's do like a cluster of rocks or something over here. I almost want to flip this whole thing. Maybe they're going up a slope instead of down a slope. Maybe some trees and bushes along the bottom or the base of this little cliffside. Some shrubbery. Okay, so we have 2 trees here. We have a little bit of, oh, I want the rocks for cover. I want to move them down here. So maybe I move the trees. So they have they're coming from the east, they're coming over, crossing, a bulette pops up in front of them, they have a slope in front of them, they have some trees some rocks for cover, they have a little bit of a climb ahead of them, and then some trees ahead of them as well. So I'm imagining most of the battle, honestly, is probably going to take place up here. Maybe some of them will try to get up to the high ground. This is going to be the battlefield, though, and then the stone giants, maybe the stone giants just climb down to here. Because that's the other part for this. I want the encounter part. So let me actually pull up stone giants too. Obviously they have a ton of hit points. Do they have rocks. They can just throw rocks from the top. I think I'm okay with that. Or I can just use the great club and some bows and arrows. Maybe they'll do 4d10 is such a lot of damage. I could just adjust some of the damage and make it a bow and arrow. I don't want them to do this much damage anyway. I think at most they would do 2d8, not 3d8. Because again, the Bulette only has 94 hit points. My party's level 10. There's only one of those. Maybe I double the Bulette hit points. I like the idea that a stone giant and a Bulette one-on-one is pretty even to each other. The Bulette does much less damage on a single hit. So then the question becomes, when do the stone giants join? And is it just one Bulette? If the party fights over here, stone giants see it, pop out of the ground. It takes them a round to get down the cliff, and then maybe another round to get into a place where they can help. And I think, how big is the stone giant hunting party is the other question. Is it 2 or is it 3? I don't think it's more than 3. I think one stays up here maybe with a bow and arrow, trained on the party, out of suspicion, just general suspicion and safety, to back up his fellows. And then 2 make their way down here to help against the Bulette. And then my other notes here is, if the party is successful and able to communicate with them and choose to communicate with them, the giants can offer some information about the ruins that they're working to find, the whole reason that they're in this plane in the first place. And that is my GM prep for this Bulette and Stone Giant encounter, complete with map and rewards for the party. You can listen to the actual encounter and how I threw all of my balancing out the window on the Dice Collectors Podcast, episode 65, available on Spotify and most other podcast places. If you like this content and want to see more, comment below what you want to see me build. Catch you in the next one.